fine ball comments talking about how Arch Manning compares to Tim Tebow. Now, when you see that the
We gotta stop this, man. Come on, go ahead.
so look, when I saw it, I was like, come on. And then I read the article, and to be fair, the article, his comments, I wanted to see where he was coming from, and I was like, it's not outrageous, but I still have a bone to pick. So we'll talk about it. I think for us as Florida fans, we're never gonna take that comparison easily. Like,
Nah, I was Javon Curse.
fair enough. Have you heard of Tim Tebow before? Do you know? Are you familiar with it? Who that is? He played.
Tim
He played.
Tebow.
Yeah, he played a little bit ago, back in like early 2000s.
Sound familiar? What? Think he? We wore like number 15 or something like that.
I think so. Yeah, I think he was like the youngest Heisman winner of all time. I think won a couple of national championships. Played with this guy named Stephen Harris. He's okay.
Yeah.
He's so.
Oh, you say he played with Steve? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because normally people be like, "Hey, Steve, you play with Tebow, right?" Like, no, Tebow played with me, guys. I'm sorry to tell you.
That's
Tebow played with me. He was a young guy. I was a senior. I did not play with him. He played with me. Fun story, just for giggles. 2006, been a Gator since 2002. We fall camp 2 days, August 14th, my birthday. We out there after practice, and hey, everybody get together. We got a big huddle, and this lady walk out there, and she's carrying this big old cake. And I'm like, dang, it's my birthday. They bringing a cake. And all of a sudden they say, hey, let's sing happy birthday to Tim Tebow. I say, you got to be kidding me. I've been here for 5 years and never got a cake. Me and Tebow got the same birthday. Shout out to Tebow, man. I got a big slice. I got a big slice of cake. They gave me a big slice, but but it was Tebow's cake.
That's hilarious.
True story. Phillips was hurt though. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, I'm about to say
it's Steve and Tebow's birthday. They had totally forgot about my birthday.
I mean, look, I would say, like, could that type of favoritism fly now? Well, we know about, obviously, through Swamp Kings. I mean, if you sucked, you were eating hot dogs. So, like, that would, not that you said you sucked, but clearly,
yeah,
Tim Tebow was.
He came with so much hype, man. Coming in, he had so many people outside the gate waiting for him at practice. So I was not surprised. My feelings weren't actually hurt. I said, hell, it's Tebow.
You know
what am I supposed to do?
What's crazy, I feel like with him and Lagway, obviously they kind of possess that same mentality. Like, they're probably the two most non-wanting of the attention. That's a horrible way to say that, but like, don't want it at all. And like, just like the more they don't want it, the more they get it. That's how you get the women. The more you ignore them, the more they like it. You know what I mean? It's like,
for sure.
It's hilarious how it works. But I do want to read what Paul said and then get your thoughts and opinions about it. And look, I mean, it's just, I get it. I think, we're in the day and age now. It's with every sport. We're trying to find the next Jordan. We're trying to find the next Kobe. LeBron's still there, but in a sense, we're still trying to, I would say, find that new identity. And NASCAR, it's who's going to be a couple of faces, right? Who's going to be the Dale Earnhardt? Who's going to be the Dale Jr.? We need faces so we can feel connected to it. And look, I think Manziel did that for a little bit, not the same level as Tim Tebow, but he was fun. Sure. Johnny Football. I mean, that was electric, and that to me is what I'm even going to use today when we talk about it. It's like we haven't had it since Tim Tebow. I disagree. I think Johnny was not the same as Tim Tebow, completely different, but it was still, I mean, polarizing must-watch TV when Johnny Football was on TV. Like, I'm not an A&M fan, and I was pumped to watch Johnny Football. I know Arch started 2 games. I didn't even care to turn the TV on. Call me a hater. I would rather, I mean, there's a few, look, I was just, not this year. I think this year, yeah, I'll tune him in. I was honestly, personally, more excited to watch Dylan Raiola. I went and watched actively Nebraska games because I felt like the hype coming out for him and getting to start right away, I was more excited to see that than Arch Manning. Call me a hater. I have no bad blood against Arch. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do. I actually defended him a plethora of times when he was coming out because he was getting thrashed that he shouldn't be a 5-star, but I'm excited to see him. But thoughts before I read this?
Yeah, I mean, he's developed over the time. Great job by him going and willing to sit down and wait. I don't know if he had a choice. Just developing his game. He had the right type of leadership behind him. I just believe that for him right now, the Manning name is just carrying so much weight, and the expectations are through the roof. Um, and then that he's a running Manning. you know, you
Yeah.
don't get a running man that's notoriously known for lead feet. So for him to be able to move and can run, even if it's a 4.6, that's better than 5.3. So it's going to be a lot of hype behind that train. You know he got the arm talent. So to give him some wheels too, I think it opens up the game for him with his knowledge of the game already being downloaded from father, cousin, brother.
Downloaded.
So
I love
yeah,
that. Q
yeah,
Lee says Cam Newton, another great name. I completely agree. Again, I feel like we had Manziel for 2 years. Cam was just a flash and such a it was just so quick.
lightning.
Yeah, it's hard, and that's that. Like I'm not taking away from it, but I think that's part of the aura for Tim Tebow, which I'm going to get into. Is we had it for almost we did have it for 4 years, which is
4
I think a
years.
massive factor. And look, we had a little bit of Manziel. Manziel kind of got a little sloppy in the end, but we had a little bit more time with it to kind of digest it, accept it, appreciate it, and then get through it. Where Cam was, I felt like before, as it was happening, you're like, hey, y'all hear about this? And we're like halfway through the season. And it's like, oh man, this
Yeah.
is nuts. That was the only difference to me. Let's read what he said though. Let's read
Yeah,
his
what'd he
quotes.
say?
I believe that not since Tim Tebow we've had something that is aligned with Arch Manning, which we just gave you multiple names that have. A different era, but remember, Tebow showed up in Florida in 2006. They had a great quarterback, Chris Leak. Shout out Leak. He was the number one quarterback in the country and wasn't dissimilar to what we see with Quinn Ewers, and they won a national championship. Then they moved on to Tebow mania in the internet age, but not quite the age that we live in now where everything is social media. By the way, Tebow did not come from the most famous family in football history. He was in some way more famous for what he stood for as opposed to how he played. I think that was later on, but that's neither here nor there. Art just checks every box. I don't think he was. I think towards the end, I remember the John 3:16 that became popular for the championship, but I wouldn't say that was what he was popular for. I think it was how he carried himself continuously for 4 years.
Work ethic. Work
Work
ethic was
ethic.
what he was popular for. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just even
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, but even
No, no,
coming in from high school, they had all these videos of him working out in his garage and pushing weight and training himself when kids were not doing that. So Tebow for me was his work ethic. Everybody knew how hard he worked, which is what he was famous for.
Agreed. And I think too, it's hard. Look, I know we all want to yell and hoot and holler, like this is blasphemy. I appreciate the comparison, and again, I think us as Florida fans, we're always going to take a defensive approach on this. I was trying not to because I want to be kind of even keel with this, but at this point in Tebow's career, he already won a championship and a Heisman. Now you can say obviously Chris Leak was running the show the first time, but besides the point, he was he had a championship and he was a factor to that championship. That is true. You couldn't have won it without Chris Leak, and I don't think you would have won it without Tim Tebow, to be perfectly honest with you. Just having that,
Sure.
or Stephen Harris. So those are two massive things.
Definitely.
And then you go win a Heisman, and you're going into your junior year. Arch is going into his junior year, and outside of 2 games against ULM and somebody else, we haven't seen him. No, you've had arguably one of the top recruited quarterbacks in quite some time. He had a perfect score coming out of high school, so I understand it. But I think all the things that you just said, DJ Lagway possesses all of those, if not more. He was a number one recruit coming out. He doesn't have the name, and that's a big thing that I think is why Tebow, because he came from, he didn't have the Manning aura. I think what also is going to hurt Manning is because of the aura that's behind him. The expectations are going to be so high. We're almost, I don't know if people will be impressed because it's living up to that's going to be tough. You're really going to have to knock my socks off. And I'm not trying to hate. I hope he does really, really well, but I think DJ Lagway carries the same, possesses the same things and has much more time left on his plate to make an impact and has played a lot more. We've seen him play and have much more impact already than Arch Manning has.
Way bigger sample size.
If you want to take a comparison, you got a Gatorade Player of the Year, 5-star recruit, wasn't a perfect score like Arch Manning, but I mean, you want to talk about checking boxes? I think DJ checks everyone that you want to point to and then some. And again, you're going to call me biased. That's fine. But what are you pointing to that I'm not pointing to? That's all that I'm saying. And again, they're both, I think they're both crazy. I think they're massive comparisons. I think they're such a big reach. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a tremendous reach. To me, Tebow, you don't compare nobody to Tebow with a small sample size like that.
Agreed.
That's just
That's
that's
the bigger
just
thing.
that's just yeah. I mean, we haven't seen much. He's not as strong. He's not just gonna run people over. He may run away from a couple guys, but there's some guys in the SEC that'll run them down. Um, yeah, you don't. I get it, I understand it, but it's more of the name driving that train to me than
The
the
skill
output on the
behind it.
field for sure. Well, I mean, nobody was outside the people that was clamoring for the name was asking for him to play as a freshman. Tebow, the crowd chanting Tebow every time he touched the field. You don't get that when Manny's hitting the field. You don't. It's not. He's not rock star as like Tebow. That's just
And
not it
but DJ has that aura.
for sure. For DJ
Like,
has it.
and I think, and
DJ
he
has
even
it
said, "Look, you can't walk around, at a Texas university without hearing Arch." I mean, the same thing goes here. And look, I think Texas is a big brand. They want it to be big, and I get it. I get the whole push. I get the whole argument. And I don't want to seem like we're crazy. Again, it's tough to have, I would say, a non-bias because we are biased being Florida fans. But like you said, to
Listen,
try to compare any of these guys in the sense that, hey, they have the potential this year to be in the same light as Tim Tebow. And I think, look, the only thing I will agree with is because of the change of social media, that the name can catch fire and move and maybe
for
appear to
sure.
be bigger. But I think that, again, just argues for Tim Tebow that the fact in the magazine era, everybody knows who Tim Tebow was, and still to this day know who Tim Tebow was. I was talking with one of our guys of the day about writing articles, and he was like, "Dude, we didn't cover Florida football, but back in the day, we would write about Tim Tebow because that man just ate clicks."
For sure. Listen, so if anybody who watch football or lick, if they had the chance to trade Archie for Lagway, they'll do it. They'll do it. If Lagway was on the team and was a freshman, there'll be discussions about Lagway starting over Manning if he was on that team coming in next season. It's going to be a pure quarterback battle, which a lot of people would have been screaming for Lagway if he was in Texas. So when side by side, Lagway's that guy. You say
That's a
what you
great
want,
point. What's a
Lagway's
great way
that
of
guy.
looking at it. We never. I love that conversation. I don't feel like we do that. We say who's the best quarterback, but yeah, if you take one of these guys and put him on the same team, who starts?
Who starts? They don't want that discussion.
That's a big one. That's a big one. I like that. That's a fun way of looking at it. Man. We got $20 on Rookie, the sponsor of the Today's Show. Hopefully, we can have history
Rookie.
repeat itself 20 years after the fact. You know, again, and this is why I don't hate the conversation from Paul, and I don't hate the comparison because what we do as fans is we try to find that next thing to clamp onto. We're doing it now. We did it. We did it starting last year. We talked about this feels like Leak and Tebow. We got Graham
Yeah.
Mertz. Leak spun the ball like nobody's business. we got D, and look, we want to feel that, right? So I understand where it comes from. Like I said at the beginning, we're all trying to grasp on. We're all trying to find that next great thing. And even when we do have it with like a Patty Mahomes, when it's here, we don't want it anyways. We as people don't know what the hell we want. You know what I'm saying? We just
Yeah.
we are unpleasable. I feel like anymore.
I,
we want too much.
you know one thing, I don't know if anybody's ever told this, but Tebow, man. I know we the John 3:16 and Jesus Tebow, we love that. But Jesus had Tebow had some turn the table Jesus in him. Yeah, no, he had some out flip the table if it ain't going right in him too. True story. I don't know if anybody. We had a pool party, 2006. Tebow's a freshman, and we having a great time. Everybody's in the pool, and this guy just started acting crazy at the pool party, trying to chop it up with the guys, want to fight. And he in the pool, and I
Not
believe
Tim,
he swung.
random guy.
No, no, Tebow's outside the pool. He's at the pool party.
But
We
he's
at the
not
pool
acting
party.
up. Okay, I'm making sure we're getting
No,
right people.
no, it's a random guy acting up in the pool.
Got you.
And
Sorry.
he goes to mess with our teammates, or no, one of our teammates or whatever. He swings at our teammate. And I kid you not, Tebow, this is probably where Superman comes from. Tebow flies from outside of the pool, dive in the water all on top of this man's head, man. Gave the man the business, kid. True story. Tebow whooped somebody, dog.
Rightfully so,
T
defending the family.
Tebow, yeah, that was the last time he came to a pool party. He probably like, nah, I can't be doing this. You know what I mean? But Tebow was down to go to war for his teammates, guaranteed. True
That's all
story.
you needed to know.
True
And
story, bro.
honestly, that coincide with everything. I'm cool with. Like, I don't think there's anybody in here who's like, no, it's not okay. That's listen.
No,
You pulled
man.
first.
Listen, yeah, you don't leave my teammates alone, man. You out here big and bad, but Tebow, I said that to say Tebow was never no chump. Tebow just knew how to make sure he wasn't in places where chumps like to act up because he'll smash them.
That's half the battle, man. Making sure you're in the right place at the right time, and not make sure you're in the wrong
For
place
sure.
at the wrong time. I think that's where a lot of people,
For sure.
and even a lot of great kids, get caught up with. Even nowadays, it's just like, hey, you're not a bad kid or anything like that, but just you got to make sure you make the right decision. There's obviously my favorite TV show is How I Met Your Mother, and the kind of the running joke is his mom always told him nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m. and that obviously becomes a big point. But yeah, 100%. Like, what are you doing up at 2 a.m. driving around? Like, you are literally just putting yourself into a situation for bad things to happen. There's a reason why nobody's driving around at 2 a.m. The ones that are driving around at 2 a.m. probably shouldn't be driving around at 2 a.m. So if you're in that company, you're guilty by association sometimes, and that's what you don't want to
It happened to me. I'm guilty for kicking butt, defending my teammates, and getting in trouble for it. And yeah.
I love it. Great story. Look, we're full story times today. Stephen Harris.
I ain't know if I was ever gonna tell that story, but yeah, Tebow kicked some butt, man.
We deep into the bag tonight. I'm loving it.